Okay, so this is day, I guess you could say two of Imperium Academy because I watched the first video yesterday, which was November 11th, and today is November 12th, and today is my second day. This is an audio recording just because I don't have any space on my phone currently to make any videos, and this is the best I can get right now, the easiest thing, and the most quickest way I could put this down. But I'm looking at my book right now, and the notes that I took today were absolutely insane. Like, this is what, 12 pages of notes. Charlie is amazing in the way that he actually makes people implement what he's teaching. And not like in a forcing way, but he makes it the easiest and most likely to happen because he's like, close all your tabs, focus, lock in, grab your headphones, have your phone on mute, put it in another space, like do not have it on your desk, and just focus like the whole time. And it's a long class, and I have just realized how possible it is to be so focused on something. Partly because I was in the library a few days ago and I was just sending outreach messages for like 4 hours straight. And to be honest, holy cow, that was so painful. Like, I got distracted probably like 7 times. And it wasn't distracted like I was on my phone and I wasn't on another tab. They were just thoughts. And the thoughts were like, I should do this, or what would happen if I did this, or I should Google that. Oh, I need to do this when I get back home. Those kind of like distraction thoughts. And some thoughts like, I am so bored, this is awful. Like, how long do I have left? Those kind of distraction thoughts that I had. Um, so just to sit down for a few hours and just to learn and get so much information. First of all, it's like the best dopamine that I could ever experience. It was really good. And also just allowing myself to sit down and take that information in for that long of a time. But here's what I wrote down. I'll go over my notes a little bit. Today was elucidatory axioms, if I said that right, which means to make clear the fundamentals or clear foundations. And I really like how Charlie basically started out with, you have to start with the truth, and that's how billionaires think. That is most true in anything. And I've been thinking about the principles that he taught and how similar they are to really growing and becoming successful in any area. I am a musician and I am an athlete, and I have had success in both of my endeavors in those two passions of mine. In music, especially is the one I'm thinking of, I've been playing my violin for almost as long as Charlie's been in business, and he's making $1 million a month, and I am playing Bach, which is really hard. But I could not have been playing Bach 9 years ago. Like, and I had to think about, okay, well, how did I get here? Very, very similar, if not basically the same process of how Charlie made $1 million in his business and like grew and got successful in his business. And I sat down and was thinking about, like, hey, what was I doing? How did I get there? Well, the first thing I did was I learned about it. And the way I learned about it was my teacher, or one of the teachers in elementary school, came and played a piece, a fiddle piece. And I was so interested. I was so intrigued. Like, I had to play. I just had to. And I came home that day and I begged and begged and begged and begged my parents to get me a violin. And they ended up making a deal with me that if I took care of the dog and I fed her and walked her and stuff, that they would get me a violin. And I had to also practice my violin. And I was absolutely so down to take on this responsibility, which more felt like a game and a play, to like play my violin because I was so obsessed with it. I just wanted to. So I got my violin when I was 10, and I did everything I told him to do. I took care of the dog, and I started training her and doing everything with that, and then I was playing my violin. And so for a while I just took this class and I just was playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. I was watching some videos on how to play, and I was on YouTube a little bit, but for the most part I was actively on my violin and just making mistakes, learning from mistakes, writing things in my notes in my music, and just and I was so unfamiliar with things. Like, I didn't know anything about music beforehand. I knew barely anything. And so I had a huge learning curve, and when I started, I had this amount of growth that was skyrocketing, like, because I was learning so much. Eventually, I probably plateaued, probably I think in year 3 of playing my violin, just because I had learned the fundamentals, and you had to stick with the fundamentals. You have to learn how to hold the bow. You have to learn how to have good posture. You have to learn how music theory works in a very simplified sense. And if you don't, then you can't move on. Like, you have to understand those principles first before you learn any other music. But once you do, you can start to play anything, really. And so, that was so true in business. Like, the way Charlie's teaching this is teaching the basics of money and how to make it. And it doesn't matter who you are and what you do, as long as you do this, you will make money. And the whole fundamentals was like similar to music to me. Like, if you understand these principles and you have these foundation blocks, you can start building on them. Same in music, same in for business. And the idea of making money was basically like, if you want to make money, you need to create value, right? And if you need to create value, you need to have a problem to solve, or you have to alleviate pain. And to alleviate pain, you have to find a solution to a problem. And to find a solution to a problem, you need the right information. You just need critical information. It's so crazy to me that critical information is basically the driving force of making money. Like, and the other thing that's very interesting to me is this is something that not just Charlie understands. This was something that was taught to me by actually 2 other entrepreneurs. And it's something I didn't realize or recognize before, was that money is it's fake. Like, it's not real. It's just a fake monetary value that everybody makes it have value. Everybody makes it have meaning because we all trade it. If we all decided the next morning that the American dollar had no worth, we wouldn't use it anymore. Like, it's just made up. Like, we print the American dollar, obviously, but like, coins are just bits of metal. Cash is just paper from a tree. They're just strips of paper like strip of tree. Our bank account is a code with a number on a screen. It's just that, and I've really, really recognized that, especially with the screen. And like, it's just a number. Really, we're chasing after a really big number, which was so strange, because once you understand that, you just understand that what's the real thing that people want is the value that you bring, right? The cost, the number, it doesn't matter. It's the value. It's like, what are you bringing, Which I think as you make more and more money, you start caring less and less about the number and more about the value that you're going to bring to somebody, because that cannot be replaced. It's value that you're bringing. And people will start to trade value for other value. That's because money has come to a point where it doesn't matter so much. Anyways, so, and learning about bending reality, a lot of the things he taught I had previously learned, but not from Charlie. It was from other, I guess, entrepreneurs, but also just in general. I've learned in other courses from other people that I've taken before, and bending reality was one of them. And it's just been over time in life lessons, but basically, you have the ability to change the world, and you can change your entire life with information within the bounds of natural law and physics and time. So you can do anything that you put your mind to. Like, and I mean that. Like, you can do anything. I've learned this because I've done things like that. I wanted to get my private pilot's license. It was a really split-second decision. I saw a girl who got in an airplane. I thought it was cool. I said, I'm going to do that. Guess what I did? And I just had to take information like Charlie taught from my unknown reality, because I didn't know anything about aviation, and then I bring it to my reality, and I started learning, and I went to flight lessons, and I got a scholarship, and now it is my real reality. I go and fly airplanes for fun. Like, that was a year ago me, and now the year later me flies airplanes. I don't have my check ride. I haven't passed my check ride yet, but like, my current reality is what I used to want, like my dream reality. It's crazy to look back, especially journaling, and seeing writing out what my dream life would look like when I had the scholarship. And I was writing how cool it would be to drive down to St. George to do flight lessons, and like how amazing it would be to get my check ride done. I have my private pilot's license. And at the time, it seemed like the end goal, like it's just my private pilots that I wanted. And now I'm close to it. I'm almost there. And how insane is that? Like that my once dream is now my actual reality, and it's because I took information, but not only did I take information, I took action. Like you have to make action, and it has to be not just a little bit of action, it has to be an insane amount of action, like massive action. And that's where I'll preach on my soapbox, is that you have to take insane amount of action to get to your desired outcome. And you have to be relentless. Like you can't stop to get your desired outcome too. Um, anyways, got to the types of businesses you can do, which is the done for you, and then eventually you want to do it yourself business. I didn't know that you wanted to graduate from your done for you to a done do it yourself. I kind of have seen the other entrepreneurs do that in the space. I've even seen my friends do it, that started with coaching with me. But I've never really understood quite why, and now I do. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Because obviously you make more money, there's a lot of other reasons for it, but I would love to make a course. I know that it doesn't sound fun, and the way Charlie explained it, it sounded awful, but I actually would really enjoy making a course, teaching people how to do what I've done. That sounds more fun than do it for you. It might be actually more fun. I also love sales. I love the human mind. I love learning why we decide and why we do things, why we make choices, why we take action, why we don't take action. And a lot of learning about sales is like just learning really about psychology and the mind. And so, yeah, I love that he said the 4 things that matter were solid foundations and mindset, the booking sales and appointments, closing sales, and delivering value. Joel has a very similar concept, which his is set and close appointments, but he'll just preach it: set and close appointments, set and close appointments, set and close appointments. He understands that you won't make it anywhere with just information. You have to take action to do that. That has worked fairly well for me, but I always have this point where I accidentally or unconsciously or consciously self-sabotage. I'll get really close to landing a client, but I have a lot of self-doubt about actually fulfilling for the client, and I don't want to let someone down. I really need to work on that because I don't want to do that. And I'll end up not taking a sales call. It's not like I'll plan it and I won't show up, but things that will happen on accident, like I planned it in a different time zone and I messed up the time zone between mine and their time zone, or like I'll get them interested. They'll say yes to an outreach message when I'm like, hey, will you be okay on a 15-minute call? I said yes, and this is my current situation. And I don't know what to say on the 15-minute call. Like, I've taken enough action. Like, I've taken massive action, but I've taken a massive action without necessarily the end in mind, because I didn't have the next thing planned. I was just taking action. And now I'm to the point I'm like, crap, what do I say on a 15-minute call? So I wrote out in my journal today, okay, I'll probably call them. I'll say, hey, is this so-and-so with flight school? They'll be like, yes. I'm like, okay, great. I'm Eliza. We reached out over Facebook a few days ago. Does that ring a bell? And they'll probably be yes or no, and I'll explain who I am and what I do, and be like, okay, do you have a laptop or a computer in front of you right now? Is it okay if I connect you to a Google Meet so we can just see each other over a Zoom call or a video call, and I'll show you a few things, and this should only take a few minutes. Or if not, I'm like, I also want to ask, like, hey, are you the main decision maker, or is this do you have 15 minutes? If not, let's plan another time, right? Do you have later today in like a few hours, or like, do you have tomorrow at 8 in the morning, or at 10:30, whatever. They'll say yes, and then I'll have basically my sales pitch, right? I'll do my sales call. And that's the point where I've struggled. I probably had 11 sales calls now, if I'm thinking about it, and I landed my first client within those first few sales calls. However, it was not the niche that I was looking for, and it was not really that much of a sales call, in my opinion, because I just told him what I did. I didn't have any slideshow for it prepared. I just said, I'm a beginner, this is what I do, and I've shown him my work for free that I've done for other people, and he said, I'll hire you, and I'll hire you for $750 a month. And that's how I got my first paying client. My first client was not paying. I was doing Facebook ads for him. He was a realtor. And I got him, I think, like 20 leads, or I can't remember. It was a lot of leads, or 11 leads in less than like 24 hours or 48 hours. He was successful. And he ended up, quote unquote, getting sick. And he said he couldn't run the campaign because he couldn't pick up his phone. I think he was afraid of talking to people and picking up the phone. And emotionally, I think that was part of why he got sick and couldn't talk, literally couldn't talk. But that's a suspicion that may or may not be true. But he was out in another state. I don't even know. And then he ghosted me and he never talked to me again. But so currently I am still at $750 a month with my first client. And if I'm listening back in the future, or for whoever this is, today is November 11th, 2025, and I am 19 years old. I have my first client. He's paying me $750 a month currently, and I am filming for him and doing content. But I really want to go in the direction of paid ads for flight schools. Flight schools is more my niche, my passion, what I know. I'm familiar with it because I am getting my private pilot's license myself, and I'm also planning to literally fly around the world, which I also hope to have happened in the next who knows how many years, but soon. I have ambitions and dreams to have my own, obviously run my own business, but have my own homestead in the future, to fly around the world and to raise $1 million to help end human trafficking. So I'm flying around the world for a good cause, and to also homeschool my future children while I travel around travel around the world with them while having the time freedom to homeschool them. That's the dream. Also, I hope to be married in the temple and continue learning in every way, shape, and form. There's so many things I want to do. I want to be a yoga instructor. I want to be a doula, a birthing doula. I want to be an Olympian. I want to train and run. I want to be an insane music artist. Not actually insane, but like I want to have millions of people listening to my music, and I want to speak 9 languages. And I believe anything is possible that you put your mind to. Again, anything is possible within the bounds of natural law, physics, and time. And so my only issue is just managing the time to being able to achieve all these dreams. So anyways, that I guess was day 1 or 2. I'm not sure what we'll call this. We'll call this day 1 for Imperium Academy. I'll probably continue with this series, and I'll probably continue in video format as time goes on, and hopefully as I get more storage space with hopefully a new phone that I can do these things on, and it won't just be audio. But yeah, this might be on social media. It might not be, but whoever this is listening in the future, or hopefully maybe one day, the future me is listening and can say I made it, in a lot of ways. Maybe I haven't made it to everything I've wanted to do yet, but yeah, I hope so. I hope I've come so far. I've learned a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go to bed so I can wake up tomorrow and do what I need to do. But yeah, that was we're gonna say day 1 of Imperium Academy. Talk to you tomorrow.